Hey yo, what's up guys? It's your boy appearing when and we're here for another banger YouTube video. Okay, today we'll be doing weekly analysis of the forex market. So we'll just be looking at a couple of pairs, a couple of indices perhaps, and then we get to see what it is that we are looking for on the weeks ahead. Right. So first things first that we have to remember is that top-down analysis, guys. Top-down analysis is key. So you first start from a higher time frame. Now what is it you look for in the higher time frames? You look for your significant key levels, you look for your highest high, you perhaps look for your lowest low. Now when you find these things, then you find your price came here and it's saying to reject, and then next thing you notice the price came here and it kind of rejected. Now so that we have all of these significant areas, and then we go to our daily time frame. Remember guys that the market, if you guys are looking for positions within the week, you start from your daily. But if you're on the weekend, you start from the weekly, because now one candlestick on the weekly represents 7 candlesticks of daily. Same thing with your daily candlestick, it represents 24 1 hour candlesticks. So now that's just a little bit of a market breakdown on the side. Now we here, what do we see? We look at current market structure. Now what does current market structure tell us? Okay, sure, let's have a look at this. What we see is this position right here where price has been rejecting off of these levels. Okay, so we see our first touch, our second touch, and our third touch happening right over here. So now the moment we see our third touch, we get this idea that price is supposed to fall down, and price did fall down towards the downside. So what does that tell us? Hey man, price is gonna want to fall down and it's gonna want to reach this significant level right here. So when price wants to reach that level, then I know clearly that this level is going to be my first take profit. Well, maybe not now, but later on, it might be my first, it might be my second, but it's going to be a take profit level. That's what's important. So now it's going to be a take profit level, right? I'm not quite sure if it's going to be my first take profit or not. So let's jot that down. So now that we have our resistance level where price has been coming in here and it has been rejecting like a lot of times. Now if we do this, what do we notice? We notice our level of supports where price has found supports in these levels right here, and then we see a nice clean level breakout happening right over there. So now what does all of this mean? It means that okay, now price has broken out of our wedge, and one thing that we do notice, that we notice an impulse, and then we're currently seeing our correction. And one thing that we do know is that the market moves in an impulse correction impulse. So what's going to happen now is that we're expecting an impulse towards the downside. So knowing all of this, we already know that the market is going to want to shoot towards the downside. Now that we have seen this, we go down to our 4 hour. Now in our 4 hour analysis, we look for a couple of things. In the 4 hour analysis, we look for a couple of things. But we look for our patterns, our type of patterns happening right over here. So what do we notice here if we have to zoom in? Yes, we see a nice poke in and a nice retest area happening right over here, and price chose to shoot towards the downside. So what does this mean? This gave us a nice clean confirmation that price would want to shoot towards the downside. So what would we have done? What would we have done is that we would have placed an entry at this particular level just for us to shoot towards the downside. We would have done this. Right, but now that we are left, so what does this mean? We're seeing this as a late entry, guys. So what does this mean? We have to look for another entry. So now how do we find our entries? We find our entries in a situation that looks like this in the market, where our market creates a minor correctional level. Now one thing that we do know is the market, if the market creates this correctional level, let's use this. If the market gives us this correctional level happening right over here, what we're gonna look for is this type of thing. We're going to look for something that looks like this. We're going to look for this, and we're going to look for this right here. Right, so the moment we see something that looks like this, what we're going to do is that we're going to take a nice short position towards the downside, have a nice stop loss, and then we're going to look for a clean take profit towards the downside. So that's how you're going to be looking at this. But now, how can we find an exact market entry? So this is where we zoom in towards the 1 hour. Now in the 1 hour, we look for confirmations, and this is where we get a confirmation. Okay, so what do we see? We see a price is poked out only for it to come back, retest and reject this particular level, which is a nice clean fake out, only for it to shoot towards a downside. Now, one thing that we noticed when price made this level right here is that it started like shooting in an impulsive leg. It started impulsing, like really, really impulsive. So we're gonna go to the 15 minutes so that we can see this impulse a little bit more clearly. Right, so now we're at the 15-minute. Now, one thing that I tend to notice, I notice a minor head and shoulder position happening right over here. It may not be exactly what it is that you guys see, but it's a head and shoulder position where we see our first shoulder, our head, and then we noticed this minor position happening right over here. You know, our nice clean head and shoulder position. You see, we noticed this subtle head and shoulder position. So what does this mean? That price is going to want to shoot towards the downside. So what do? We wait for price to give us another correction so that we can have a reduced risk entry. We're going to look for something like this. We're going to enter price at this particular level at our third touch all the way towards the downside. So guys, if we look at Aussie USD on our for the next week, we expect it to sell drastically towards the downside. Wi-Fi is acting up. Alright, so we expect it to sell. So one thing that I'm going to do right now is that to indicate a selling position, I will do this. And then I will stretch this out all the way to the downside. We're going to go back to our 4-hour. Stretch this out really, really nicely all the way to the downside. So now this looks perfect, guys. This looks like a good entry. This looks like a nice winner at the beginning. So now we expect this to happen for the next 7 days. We expect prices to keep dropping down up until it reaches our first take profit level. So like I said, this will become our profit level. So this is going to become our first take profit. Our first take profit level. Perfect. So now that's what we see for the Aussie USD. Let's perhaps go look for something else. Let's say what can we look at? Let's look at what can we find? Let's look at Gbp USD. Right, Gbp USD. Start from the weekly time frame. Go ahead with our top-down analysis, and then we try and understand what it is that's happening. Right, so let's zoom in just a little bit right over there. Okay, perfect. So now the first thing that we have to notice is our highest high, followed by our lowest low, our current lowest low. So now that we have seen this happen right now, what do we expect? We expect levels where the market has rejected multiple times. So price is rejected here, price is currently wanting to reject here, but we are not quite sure what price is happening right now. So we're going to go straight towards our daily time frame. Now in the daily time frame, remember you look at current market data. Current market data is going to tell you a lot, guys. It's going to reveal a lot. So what do we notice right now? What's happening right now? We notice a couple of levels. We notice this particular level right here. Right, we see a nice clean break and a retest that's kind of happening right over here. This is a very significant candle that we see over here. It shows a nice clean rejection. So what does that mean? I see a nice clean double bottom position right here, so we can expect prices to shoot towards the upside. Well, but now we cannot be too sure because we're still looking at this towards the daily. But one thing that I look at right now is that I expect this type of position to happen. So what we do now is that we take out our trend lines. We do something like this. We say our first touch, second touch, our third touch, and then we go and do the exact same thing right over here. Our first touch, second touch, third touch. Okay, what do we notice? We notice that price came in from this level here and started rejecting as it came towards this level of resistance right here. So one thing that we can do is that we can remove this line and replace it with this key level right here. We can replace this with this key level right here. So now when we see this key level, two things that we tell ourselves is that, okay, now price, we can expect price to shoot towards the upside any moment from now. So we go to our 4-hour position. Our 4-hour time frame is going to give us a nice clean market indication of if what we can do. We can look for a nice buy or a nice sell position. So what we do now, we pull out our trend lines. All right, so this is what I see. Clone this. We take this and we drag it all the way this side. Now for it to look a little bit more better, a little bit more smooth, guys, like you have to make this thing look smooth so that it makes a lot more sense to you. Okay. So what do we notice here? When we look at this, we notice two things that happen in this channel. We notice an impulse correction, we notice a massive impulse, and then we notice our correction, and then now we notice our massive impulse towards the upside. So one thing that I can say right now is that we can buy in this level right here. I'm expecting buy positions all the way towards the upside on Gbp Usd. But now the question that we ask ourselves is, now that we've noticed what's happening right now, how can we find a nice clean entry? So now we look for our entry levels. We're gonna go straight to the 1-hour time frame. Now in the 1-hour time frame, we look for two things. We look for this thing called patterns. Now our patterns would give us a nice clean direction. It's gonna tell us if price is gonna want to shoot up or it's gonna shoot down. So now one thing that I can say is that I can look at this particular level right here. Price has been rejecting this key levels right here. I see this type of thing happening. Right. Let's clone this. Take this and stick it somewhere around over here. Okay, cool. So we see something like this happening on our current market structure. Now, one thing that I also notice is this candle happening right over here, this rejection, this massive rejection happening right over here. We call this a morning star, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I got the name correct, but yeah, this is a significant level. What this candle represents, what this section here represents, you see what's happening here with this massive rejection candle right here. What that candle represents is that price is going to shoot towards the upside, where the bulls will start taking control over the market. And that's exactly what it is we are looking at right now. The bulls are taking control over the market. So now, as we see this massive beautiful impulse, we also see this clean correction happening right over here. So one thing that we remember is that the market moves in an impulse correction impulse state. So now that we see this correction happening right over here, we can expect an impulse towards the upside. We pull out our bars pattern and then we pluck it all the way in here. It makes sense to me. I'm sure it should make sense to you. So I say that we can take this towards the upside, but now we can go straight towards the M15 and find things to be a little bit more clear. Let's find a more solid level, a more solid approach towards this whole thing. So what we do is that we play around with this. We play around with this so that we get to have a clean. Our market structure will evolve, so we have to evolve with it. Where we have to tweak our trend lines there and there to make sure that we get a nice, beautiful, clear entry. Right. So even if I don't have to put this, we do get to see the idea right here. So now let's count the amount of rejections that we currently are looking at. We are looking at a nice rejection over here, and a rejection over here. We're seeing a first touch, second touch, third touch happening right over here. Our first touch, our second touch, and our third touch. What does that mean? The price wants to shoot towards the upside in the long run. So what I personally would do is that I would find this as a nice clean level to enter the market. I'll enter at this particular level, shoot all the way to the upside, and then perhaps keep my stop loss somewhere close towards this significant key level right there. Remember, guys, keep 2%. Calculate 2% of your overall structure. Now, the moment you do that, guys, you'll be able to guarantee yourself that you last in the markets for a lot longer than you are currently looking at. lot size, choose the right lot size, because we're shooting towards the upside, guys. There is no denial against that. You cannot deny that, guys. We're shooting towards the upside. So what can we do? What can we expect here? We can expect prices to shoot all the way to the upside, capturing a nice 2.42%. So looking at this, what can I tell myself? I tell myself that the market can move in an impulse correction impulse. Do we remember that type of thing? Yes, we do. So what do I do right now is that I pull out my bars pattern. Bars pattern, I come over here. I do something like this. I take it and I just squeeze it in somewhere around here. It kind of looks, you see, the bars pattern makes everything look easy, guys. It makes everything look easy because we're just taking previous market data and then we just sticking it somewhere around the side so that we get a more clear essence for what it is that we're doing. So one thing that I can say nicely and proudly is that this can be our first take profit. We can make this our first take profit. But another thing that we can do is that we can make this our second take profit. Why? Because our first level is going to be right over here. Is that I see what's happening right over here. So one thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to edit this level and then I'm going to say this is going to be my first take profit. So this is my first take profit level happening right over here. And then one thing that I can do is that I can look for levels where market has kept on rejecting massively. So one thing that we are seeing right here is that we're seeing that the market is rejecting massively. So let's do this. Let's like make these levels, like another take profit. This is TP2. This is TP2. Enter. We can say this is TP3. Then we can say enter. So now, guys, looking at this here, and this is a very, very beautiful way that we can take the market, that we can tackle the markets on the upcoming weeks. And then we can look at this as our take profit number 4, take profit level 4. Hey, this is a lot of take profit levels, guys. So what I suggest that we can do here is that TP4 $sign. I like that. Right, so we look at our TP4, our fourth take profit. So when we look at this, one thing that we can do at these particular levels is see how the market will react, because how the market reacts at key levels is very important. So when we see that the market is giving us a nice clean continuation pattern, what we can look for is that we can look for a nice continuation pattern, something that looks like this. See, we can find someone somewhere around over here. Perhaps maybe we can find another one somewhere around over here. This is how we will be scaling in, guys. We'll be scaling in at these levels, maybe even sooner, depending on what the 1 hour will give us. Sometimes the market might even want to reject at some of these levels. So just make sure that you have your first nice clean take profit. And then when price reaches this level, you can take your stop losses and start pushing them towards the upside. And then you can start pulling your trailing stops if that's how you trade, or you can start placing in more buying positions towards the upside. Because one thing that the market can do is do something like this, where it impulses, it corrects, and then it impulses, and then it creates something like this where price would want to shoot towards the downside. So what do we see now is that we will see a temporary, we will see a temporary double top position. Double tops tell us that price is going to want to shoot down. So we just need to be careful. We tell ourselves a story. We are waiting for such things to happen. But so far, we have these levels as our first take profit, second take profit, fourth take profit, But on overall, we do know that the market is going to want to shoot all the way up here, because this is our 90% rule. This is going to be our 90% rule. Perfect, guys. Perfect. We've got this jotted down. So that's what we're thinking of when we talk about Gbp USD as the week continues. Let's look for something else. Something interesting. Let's just go up apps. Let's try looking at Nasdaq. Let's look at Nasdaq, guys. Let's see what Nasdaq has been doing for us. See, Nasdaq has been very, very beautiful, guys, these past couple of weeks, creating a new highest high, guys. You know, looking at this level, guys, we're seeing a lot of things, guys. We see that the price that Nasdaq has been moving from this level right here, creating a higher high, a lower high, a higher low. Then the market has been moving in higher highs and higher lows, guys. So which means that the market is trending towards the upside. So if a market is trending towards the upside, eventually the market will get tired, guys. So we can expect like a small downfall towards the downside. So now that we see something like this, market price isn't gonna come here anytime soon. So we can start labeling somewhere around here. We label this level and then we label that level right here. Our previous highest high and then our previous lowest low, and then we go to the daily time frame. Now in our daily time frame, we're gonna look for nice beautiful things, similar things, things that are gonna tell us that hey, the market is shooting towards the upside. Now if we have to focus on these candlesticks right here, on these group of candlesticks right here, you see these three candlesticks right here. These three candlesticks indicate that price is going to want to shoot towards the upside. On the As time goes by, price will want to shoot towards the upside. What does this mean? It means that we can expect Nasdaq to start creating new higher highs and new higher lows. So one thing that we can do now is that we can say this level here was our highest high, our previous highest high. So we can start adding on to these particular levels. Go to our 4-hour. Now our 4-hour is key, very, very important, because our 4-hour tells us if the market is going to want to move in a particular position or not. So what I'm expecting is something that's going to look a bit like this. I see something like this happening right here on our 4-hour position. So now on our 4-hour position, one thing that I can look at is we can expect a buying position towards the upside. We can expect a position towards the buy side. You see what we see here, right? You see what's happening right here. Now what happened here is that price came to this particular level and then it broke out. It reached our 90% rule. So when price reached our 90% rule, we expect price to keep shooting up and creating higher highs and new higher lows. I'm expecting new higher highs and higher lows. So let us keep on scaling in. Guys. What we expect price to do is for price to come back and retrace towards this particular level right here. We expect price to come back to this particular level right over here before it shoots back upwards. So what I can tell myself is that I can expect prices to keep shooting towards the upside. Now let's have a look at this. What's happening here is that we are seeing minor levels of resistance. Yes, we're seeing minor levels of resistance where price is fighting. Price is telling us that hey, we want to shoot towards the upside, guys. We're saying that price wants to shoot towards the upside, guys. So what does that mean for us? It means that price has to shoot towards the upside. It wants to shoot, so we allow it to shoot. So what do? We do something like this, guys. We see what's happening right here. Possibilities of it shooting downwards are very high at the same time because we are expecting it to shoot towards the downside. But on overall, we expect Nasdaq to keep breaking higher highs and higher lows, to start shooting all the way towards the upside. That's what it is that we are expecting for Nasdaq on the long run. Because if I have to look at this level right here, I can say that this level has been reached and it has been broken. We can say that this level was reached, it has been broken, and price has retraced towards the upside, creating something that we know as a double bottom position. So when we expect double bottoms, we expect a rise in price all the way towards the upside. As to how high Nasdaq is willing to shoot, guys, we will have to find that out as the weeks go by. But for now, takes up, Nasdaq is going to shoot towards the upside. It's going to start climbing and creating new higher highs and new higher lows. So let's look at US 30. US 30 has been one of the favorite ones that I have so far. Then we're gonna first start off at the weekly time frame. Analyzing on a Sunday, guys. Analyzing on a Sunday does tell us a lot of things, guys. That we will be like looking for our first higher high. We look for our lower low. So price isn't gonna come anywhere down there. So we're just gonna stay towards these two levels right here. So let us zoom in. Then we see something like this. Right, we see an impulse, and then we notice the correction. Now the market moves as an impulse, correction, impulse. So we expect another impulse all the way towards the upside. But when are we expecting this impulse? So we're going to shoot towards the downside. So we're going to shoot towards the downside. So let's have a look at what price is actually giving us right now. We're going to take our level. We're going to take our trend line. With our trend line, we're going to draw a nice clean line happening right over here, guys. Okay, so what do we see? I see touch 1, touch 2. I'm expecting my third touch to happen somewhere around, I don't know when, but it's going to happen eventually. And then one thing that I can do is I can clone this guy and then bring him all the way towards this side. Okay, cool. I see something very interesting happening right over here. It's an interesting level, guys. This is very interesting. I can see I can connect these guys that's over here. So one thing, what do I see? I see my first touch, my second touch, and my third touch. The moment I see my third touch, I expect prices to shoot towards the upside. So one thing that I can do is that I can start placing my buy positions all the way up here, because price is gonna want to come back here. So I can label this as my TP. As to which TP is gonna be, we're gonna find that out as we continue with our analysis. So we zoom in. When we zoom in towards the 1 hour, what do we see? We notice this massive cluster of candles happening right over here. We notice there's massive rejections happening right over here, followed by this rejection that happened over here. So many of us will look at this and say this is a nice, beautiful, and it's a clean what? It's a clean double bottom. Some of us will look at this and say this is a nice, clean double bottom position. So the moment we see this, we expect prices to shoot towards the upside. Remember, guys, you build your own story. Kill the markets for free, man. Kill the markets for free, guys. You don't have to pay for this type of thing, man. Just build your own story. Build something that has a lot of value. So let's highlight our levels right here. We see this 1, we see this 2, we see this 3, third touch. We expect a buy position. Shoot towards a 15-minute time frame. 15, sweet time frame, beautiful time frame. This guy, I like it. So let's go here. What do we see? We see this. We see massive levels of rejection happening here, guys. So now after having to see these levels of rejection, what do we notice? We notice this key level here. The price kept on coming towards these levels and rejecting. So price kept on rejecting on these levels, which gives us a more stronger reason to say the price would want to shoot towards the upside. So now that we have that, we can draw this particular level right here. This is nothing but a fake out. Don't let this confuse you, guys. Fake outs happen. Fake outs are here to confuse us. Fake outs are here to confuse us. So price is going to shoot towards the upside. Market isn't going to make it easy for us, guys. So it's going to look for ways in which it can catch us on the wrong side. So we're going to enter at this particular point. We can say this can be our first take profit. This can be our first TP. We can say this is going to be our first take profit right here. We can take this guy, shoot him all the way up here. We can see that this can be our nice clean second take profit. Perhaps it can be. It's up to you guys. You guys know how much you guys are willing to risk. I'm here to show you the market direction. This can be our second take profit. This can be our second take profit. Yeah? So let us zoom back towards the 4 hour. Now make sure that you keep your stop losses nice and tight, guys. Remember, stop losses keep you in the game longer than you are supposed to actually stay. I'm not quite sure how long you guys are supposed to stay. You guys know yourselves. You guys know how well you guys trade. You guys know how much risks you're willing to take. Second take profit, we can look at this as perhaps our third level take profit right here. I'm not gonna label it, it just keeps on going and going and going. The list is endless, guys, all the way capturing a nice 2.55%. So what does this tell us, guys? US30 is gonna shoot towards the upside, guys. It's shooting towards the upside, and I want my piece of cake. So what I expect to happen is this: the moment US30 shoots towards the upside, I'm expecting something like this, a nice clean double top happening right over here. So when price, let's highlight this level. Let me just orchestrate this for you guys, make this a lot more cleaner for you so that you guys can see what's happening. I like it when you guys see what's happening so you guys can relate to what I'm talking about, guys. So the moment I see this, I expect two things to happen. I expect a nice clean breakout, a nice retest, and it for prices to shoot towards the upside. Or I can expect prices to come at this particular level and shoot towards the downside, creating a nice level that looks like this before it shoots towards the downside. And for that, I am also happy. But for now, one thing that I'm expecting is for price to shoot towards the upside. So this is our analysis for US30, guys. US30 is gonna shoot towards the upside. You guys have to catch this move, guys. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be beautiful, guys. If you guys miss this, don't be afraid. The fear of missing out, it's no longer there, because now you have many positions that you guys can enter. You guys can enter this particular position here, make this be our first positions that we're going to enter, and then we scale in at our first take profit. We add more positions, and then we scale in at our second take profit. We add more positions, we scale in here, add more. Here we take on overall, we take our overall take profit, guys. This is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a beautiful week ahead of us. It's gonna be crazy. Guys, make sure that you guys are a part of this, guys. Come on, we have a nice clean signals group coming up. You guys just make sure that you guys talk to my man over there on Instagram, email us. All of our details will be in the description below. Just make sure that you guys are there. Be a part of a brighter tomorrow, guys. Kill the markets for free. We cannot stress this any better, guys. You kill the markets for free, guys. These guys are basically giving us free money, so they are telling us to kill them for free. Come on, guys, for free. Our for free is $1, guys. This is kill free money, guys. Kill them for free. Kill the markets for free. Kill the markets for free, guys. Come on, it doesn't get any better than this. So this is our analysis for the first three things that we'll be looking for as we continue towards the week. And as the week progresses, we will be releasing more content to keep you guys up and ready and stable, to make sure that you guys are trading with us, that you guys notice what is happening in the market, all the new evolutions that are happening in the market, and then you guys will keep you up to date. There's going to be a lot of things that you guys will be doing and we'll be learning here today. So just make sure that you like, you subscribe, and that you share this. And don't forget to drop your comments down below and tell us what you think about the markets, guys, and I will respond to each